Hello students, today we are going to study asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction, okay, fruit and seed formation and seed dispersal, okay. So now let us start with asexual reproduction, okay. So what is this asexual reproduction? In this, new plants are obtained without the production of seeds, okay. In this asexual reproduction, actually seeds are not formed. Here only one parent participate in reproduction, okay. Two parents are not required, okay, in case of asexual reproduction, okay. Gametes formation doesn't take place, okay. So, and here one more thing is that fertilization doesn't take place in case of asexual reproduction, okay. Here new plants are obtained without the production of seeds, okay. Now let us see how this happens, okay. Three asexual type of reproduction you all have to study. First is budding, second is fragmentation, and third is spore formation, okay. Though there are many which you will be studying in the higher classes, okay. So come to budding, okay. So when we are talking about budding, okay, you see we can take the example of what in this, the best example is that of yeast, and also you can take the example of hydra, okay. These are the common ones. When I am saying yeast is a fungi and it is a unicellular organism, okay. Actually this fungi, first it was kept in group plants, okay, but later on it was given a separate group, okay. So in yeast they are single celled, okay. Budding takes place. Budding is an asexual type of reproduction, okay. Actually what happens in this budding? You can see this yeast over here, isn't it? Having the nucleus unicellular, only one nucleus. Naturally what will happen, this nucleus, okay, will divide. You will see first a protrusion comes, okay. After this protrusion comes, what happens, this nucleus elongates, okay. And after elongating, what happens, there is a constriction, okay, and you can see that this nuclei, one goes up, one comes down, okay. And afterwards what happened later on, it detaches, okay, it detached from this parent plant, and this falls down, okay, and new yeast is formed, okay. One more way is that budding takes place, okay. Naturally again it goes on budding actually, okay, by the same process like here, and as the result what happens, a chain is formed of the buds, okay, and chain of buds are formed, and each bud you will see that it will give rise to one yeast plant, or now it has been separated, so we can say that it will grow into one new yeast organism, okay. And naturally we will be seeing if budding is there, number of yeast will be produced. If a single bud is there, only one yeast will be produced. It depends, sometimes only one is produced, sometimes chain of buds are there, and as the result number of yeasts are produced, okay. Now next is fragmentation, okay. In this actually what do we mean by fragmentation? It means breaking off, isn't it? And here we will be seeing fragmentation in case of algae. Best example is of Spirogera. You can see this is a Spirogera, okay. Inside it you will see that it has got ribbon-like structure, okay. So what happens when this Spirogera matures, okay, it breaks up into different parts, okay, and when it breaks up, it forms a new plant. Getting? So you can see here what that here no seeds are produced, no gametes used, only single parent giving rise to number of Spirogera just by breaking, okay, and that is what fragmentation, okay. Now spore formation. As soon as I say spore, it means small circular things, okay, will be they are circular in nature. In case of fungi you can see, in case of fern we can see below the leaf, okay. So here spore formation, you can see, just take a bread, okay, we have done in the first chapter also, okay, moist it. After 2 or 3 days you will see some black substances on that bread, okay, and if you keep that bread in a box, okay, for 2 days and just open, you will see some black substances are coming out like soots, okay. These are nothing but the spores of the fungi, okay. So these spores, and number of spores, number of that organism will be produced. Suppose if the fungus, if this is a mucor, okay, what happens, you can see over here, it protrudes over here, okay, at the top, and this is known as what, sporangium. There are many other also, okay, but here you are I'm explaining you from sporangium, okay. It is bulge over the top of the structure of that the fungus, okay, and here you will see this sporangium is consisting of number of spores, okay. And what happens, it, when it time comes, it bursts out, okay, and spores are released in the atmosphere. Right now also we are standing and we can't see, there are number of spores in the atmosphere, okay, of these fungus, okay. These spores, actually what happens, when they are released in the atmosphere, they don't germinate as soon as it is released, okay. Actually, if there are harsh conditions or unfavorable condition, they remain dormant. It means what? If the conditions are not appropriate for growing, it will not grow. Getting? It will remain at that time dormant, okay. It means it will not be active, but yes, once it gets the appropriate condition for growing, then it grows. Like I said to you, bread, if you keep it in the refrigerator, you will not see this fungus after one day. But if you just keep it outside and moist it, you will see after one day only these spores are coming out and they are just growing, okay. So in that you can see that yes, spore formation takes place in order to produce the new fungus, okay. Now next is the fern. Fern leaves, many you will see on the roads, okay. Just turn the leaf, you will see small spores, okay, at the under surface of the leaf, okay. Just you turn the leaf, okay, and you will see what spores are there, and those spores actually they go in the environment, and when they get the favorable condition, it means the condition in which they can grow, okay. What happens, they start growing, okay. So this is how asexually the plants carry on what, the reproduction, okay. In case of, you have studied yeast, Spirogera, fern, fungus, okay, and the methods you have studied budding, fragmentation and spore formation. Now let us study sexual reproduction, okay. What is this actually? In this we will be seeing what, the male and female parts are present, okay, first of all, because here we need the male part and the female part, male gamete and the female gamete, okay, and they fuse, fertilization occurs, okay, zygote is formed, and after division of zygote, okay, we will be seeing that yes, fruit is formed, in which the ovule forms the seeds and ovary forms the fruit. So all these processes we will be studying step by step, okay. So main part which plays in this reproduction is what, the flower, isn't it? Because we know it consists of the male parts as well as the female parts. It is not necessary that only one flower, we will be finding both male and female, and it is not necessary, I am saying, it is present, okay, but it is not necessary that both the male and female parts we see in one flower. Maybe different flowers may be consisting of, one flower may be consisting of only female, another of only male, okay. So first let us study the parts of the flower, okay, which participates in what, this reproduction. Here we are seeing, okay, any flower you take it, okay, you will see what, at the base, okay, it is flattened, okay, and that part is known as what, thalamus. Actually whole flower rests on that thalamus, okay. Now here you will be seeing then what, sepals. Take any flower, okay, you will be seeing it is either covered with a green portion or in one roll or in simple leaflets like structure, I will say, okay, and that is known as what, sepals. They are green in color, okay. Now next is the petals, okay. So these petals, okay, you will be seeing this. These petals are very colorful, isn't it? And different colors are also present. Actually, what is the function of these petals? Okay, first, all these two reproductive parts, the male and female, are embedded inside it only, okay? And as the result, what happened, it gives protection to those parts, and as it is colorful, it helps in what? Pollination, okay? The insects gets attracted by the color, okay? And they come here, and as a result, pollen grain sticks, okay? And it is transferred to the stigma. So this is the function of the petals. Now coming to, you can see here filament-like structure, okay? These are what? The male part of the plant, okay? And they are known as what? Stamens, okay? And when we are talking about the stamen, you can see over here one of the stamen, tube-like structure, and above it is just bilobed. It is known as, this portion is known as what? The anther, okay? And this tube-like portion, okay, is known as what? Filament. So anther and filament are the parts of what? Stem, and that is the male reproductive part, okay? Now coming to this female reproductive part, you can see here this is the ovum, okay? And or you can say what? Ovules, okay? This is what? Ovary. So these ovules are inside the ovary, okay? And or you can say even ovum is present inside the ovary. You can even say egg also, okay? Now you can see that this protruded portion at the basal portion of the flower, basically it is flag shaped, okay? And then when you will be seeing, it is going up again, having a tube-like structure, and this slender tube-like structure is known as style, okay? And this above portion where the pollen grains are deposited, okay, is known as what? Stigma. Getting? Now here you can see what? These produced, this anther produced what? Pollen grains. Isn't it? Pollen grains are produced by what? Anther, okay? Now suppose if any insects gets attracted towards this flower, okay, it comes to this flower to take what? Nectar only, and as it is colored, it comes over here. So what happens? This pollen grain sticks to the legs of those insects, okay? And when it comes to the water stigma to take the nectar, what happened? It deposits the pollen grain over here, okay? This I am showing you in this flower only, but it can take place in different flowers of the same plant. Suppose this is one flower, another flower is here, okay? And here also what is present? The female reproductive part, okay? Now here, suppose from here the insect is bringing over here, okay? So naturally what happens over here, if the insect is, and this is of the same plant, so it brings over here, deposits the pollen grains on the stigma of the different flower of that same plant, okay? This type, that this transfer of pollen grains from this anther to the stigma, okay, is known as what? Pollination, okay? If it is in the same flower or the flower present on the same plant, it is known as self-pollination, okay? But if the flower is on different, suppose this plant and this plant, suppose here the flower is present, okay? From here it is going to this plant, okay? So what happens here? Different plant is there, isn't it? From this it is moving on to this. This is what? Cross pollination, okay? Just remember that when the pollination takes place in the same flower or the same flower present with the same flower present in the same plant. Okay, we can say not same flower beta, the flower present on the same plant. Okay, whether it is the same flower, okay, or a different flower present on the same plant, it is known as self-pollination. And when it is from with different plants, so the plants are different and the pollination is taking place over here, okay, insects are only doing, or wind is doing, or water it takes place, there are different means of the dispersal of this pollen grains, okay. So this type of pollination is known as what? Cross pollination, in which two different plants are involved. And in self-pollination only one plant is involved, either it is in the same flower or the different flower present on the same plant. Okay, now one thing, if in this flowers we can see that yes, what is present, the stamen is also present and the pistil is also present, which is the female reproductive part, isn't it? This pistil only consists of what? The style, stigma and ovary, isn't it? So if pistil as well as stamens are present in the same flower, it is known as a bisexual flower. Okay, if only one of it is present, either the pistil or the stamen, then it is known as unisexual flowers. Okay, so if it is bisexual, the common examples you can say in which both are present, the stamen as well as the pistil, it means the male part as well as the female part. Okay, it is, we can take the example of hibiscus, we can take the example of rose and many of it, because majority they are bisexual in nature only. But if only one of it is present, either the stamen or the pistil, it is a unisexual flower. And the examples you can see in this, you will be seeing what the plants are also the different. Okay, the male plant and the female plant, like you can see with the papaya, okay, watermelon, cucumber, okay, these all are what? Unisexual. Okay, they have unisexual flowers. Okay, now we have studied about the flower. Okay, it consists of male part and the female part. Okay, from the male part what comes? Male gamete comes. From the female part what comes? The female gamete comes. Okay, so here the anther produces what? The pollen grains. We have seen that also. There are different pollinating agents like insects, wind, animals, water. Okay, they help in the pollination. You know what is pollination? Transfer of pollen grains, isn't it? From the male part to the female part of the flower. Okay, and it can be in self also, it can be cross pollination also. Okay, so now after pollination, actually what happens when the pollen has already been transferred to the, where it is transferred to the stigma, and this you can see over here is the female reproductive part. Female reproductive part is known as what? The pistil, isn't it? And this portion, which is broadened portion, it is known as stigma. This slender portion is known as style, and this flax shaped structure is known as what? The ovary. And this ovary consists of what? Ovum or the egg cell. Okay, so what happens actually? This stigma, it produces what? Sugary substance. Okay, and it is sticky also in nature. Naturally, suppose if an insect comes and sits over here, it is having what? The pollen grains. Okay, in its body. Okay, it, what does it do? As this sugary substance is present over here, pollen grains are dropped over there and it sticks to the stigma. Okay, and naturally if it sticks, after some times it starts germinating and it develops a what? Pollen tube. Okay, it starts germinating and it forms what? Pollen tube. You can see in the second phase this pollen tube has totally been formed. Okay, and here the male gamete, what happens? It moves through this pollen tube and reaches where? The egg or the ovum. Okay, and it, what, when it reaches over here, naturally it fuses with the female gamete. Okay, that is the egg. Okay, and this fusion of male and female gamete, we will be saying what? It is fertilization. So fertilization is what? Fusion of male and female gamete is known as what? Fertilization. Okay, once fertilization has taken place, a structure develops. The structure is develops, no, it is formed, and that is known as what? Zygote. Okay, so zygote is formed only after fertilization. Okay, so this zygote which has been formed, it is right now consisting of what? The male and female gamete which has been fused. Okay, so after this what happens? It starts its multiplication. Okay, so once this zygote is formed, the other parts of the flower, okay, like petals, sepals, what happens? They start withering off because their function is now over. Okay, now, and naturally this multiplies and it forms what? Seeds from which new plants germinates. Okay, and what happens to this ovary then? This ovary forms the fruit. Okay, whenever you eat a fruit, okay, come on, let us take the mango fruit only. Okay, when you are eating mango, what happens? You are eating what? The ovary. Okay, inside that what is present? The seed is present, which when you keep it inside the ground or inside the soil, what happens? It germinates now when you give water. Okay, so here we are seeing what? This forms what? The seeds, and the ovary forms the fruits. See, we have seen what? This zygote, it forms the seed. Actually, zygote multiplies, okay, and it develops into what? Embryo, and after embryo only what is formed? The seed is formed. Okay, and this ovary, it develops into the fruit which you eat. Now we have studied, yes, the seed is formed, the fruit is formed. Okay, and I said to you what? That seed gives rise to a new plant. Okay, suppose if all the seeds starts growing at the same place, okay, it falls and it starts growing, what will happen? At that area, the cluster of that plants will be formed. Then will those plants be healthy? No. Isn't it? Because they are in cluster, so it has to be detached. Isn't it? So dispersal of seeds are required in order to get healthy plants. It means the seeds should be dispersed from one place to another. So there are various agents which helps in the seed dispersal. Okay, like wind, okay, animals, water, and there are some other mechanism also by which the seed gets scattered and gets dispersed. Okay, so when we are saying most of the seeds are mainly dispersed by wind, okay, and those seeds, they are what? Very light, okay, and they consist of wings or something or the other, so that feathery like substance or hairy like substance, so that they can be carried to long distances. For example, you can take the example of drumstick and the maple. Okay, in this you can see what? Wings are present in the seeds. Okay, flap like sticks. These wings are just thin, okay, and flat. You can see over this of drumstick and you can see of the maple. Okay, they have got what? Wings present in the seed. Okay, and as a result it helps in what? Blowing away far distances. Okay, so here which is the agent? That is the wind, which is helping in what? The seed dispersal. Next we can see this regarding the sunflower. Okay, you can see their fruits are hairy in nature. Okay, and as the result in the this also you can see here in case of madar, the oak plants it is having. Okay, in this we are seeing what? They are hairy in nature, and naturally what happens? It travels long distances, and as a result it gets dispersed. Okay, now in case of xanthium, okay, you can see this. Okay, this xanthium and urena, they are, you can see, dispersed. These seeds of these plants are dispersed by what? The animals. Okay, now next you can see by this balsam and castor, they have a special mechanism. In this what happens? In case of balsam, you will be seeing that the seeds gets burst off. Okay, once it is mature, it gets burst off, and it, as a result, it just it is spread all around to a long distance, okay, in case of castor and balsam. So seed dispersal, you can see over here, yes, that what happens in this, they are dispersed with the help of wind, animal, okay, and bursting out. Different mechanisms are there. You can even see that yes, the seeds are dispersed by water. You can see the coconut, these coconuts you all know, okay. What happens, this coconut falls on the water body and it takes to distance and it reaches another area, and then it starts growing naturally. Now here also that is being dispersed from one place to another. So these all are the agents like wind, animal, okay, water, even the different mechanisms are present for seed dispersal so that healthy plants can be grown, okay. So this is all about reproduction in plants. Students, hope you might have understood it. Good day, take care.